What we really are trying to do is to get the ball rolling on carrying out all the goals of Dallas. We look upon this as the first step in initiative. This offer is going to be contingent upon the city acquiring both tracts of land on either side of us, presumably for parkland.
Is the theater center in some sort of financial trouble that they would have to make this action?
No, we don't really know what all the financial effects of this would be, really. This has been occasioned by the proposed commercial development of the tract next to us. And what we're really trying to do is to assist the city and to make a very substantial grant, something in the neighborhood of a value of $3 million to the city, in hopes that they will be able to acquire the land on either side.
Posed upon us in the way of additional expenses and not that much of an increase in revenues. So,
factory contract being negotiated between the developers and the city. By that, my intent.
I will forego a formal presentation. You heard from me on the.
We have several other councilmen like
Councilman Rimmer, other council members, in consideration of the time involved today.
Well, Ray, very, very much so, because last year we played in New Orleans against the Dallas Cowboys and were really humiliated by them. They played a great ball game. So I felt going into the Super Bowl, this might have been the last time I probably would ever get a chance to play in a bowl such as this. So we had a lot to atone for, and no one wants to be a two-time loser. And playing under Don Shula, we really don't want to make a winning coach consider a losing coach, and he could have been had we lost, and he would have been a three-time loser. So he had an awful lot going for us going into the ball game. The guys had a real good attitude, and we really wanted this one.
Have you been able to come down out of the clouds yet and really realize, what the team has done, going 17-0 and winning the Super Bowl?
Well, without trying to sound, egotistical, it really is almost an astounding accomplishment, because I think the ball players who've been in the league and who know what it's like to go through exhibition season, go through a regular season, into the playoffs, which I consider a whole new season, then winning a Super Bowl, if you can do that going 17-0, and I think you got a pretty good ball club. And finally, I think some of the people are starting to call our ball club a great ball club, and I certainly have to agree with them.
To tell you the truth, we're just starting to realize what an accomplishment it was, and it'll really take a while for it to hit more than anything.
You set your sights on this after last year's Super Bowl defeat at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys, didn't you?
We set our sights on winning the Super Bowl this year, and we were lucky enough and good enough to go all the way through and win it.
Were you surprised at the way that you were able to handle the Washington offense the way you did?
We really were. We thought they would move the ball on us a lot more. I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game, but as it turned out, it was a defensive-type game.
Kilmer did not have much success passing either.
Well, they wanted to establish a running game first, and usually after they establish a running game, he comes with play-action type passes, and our defensive line and linebackers shut off their running game, and that was just the story of the whole game.
What about coming up with a name for that no-name defense now?
Well, I don't know. No name's good enough for me, but I guess it's pretty well spread around the country now.
Well, first of all, I'm happy that Dick invited me to come to this game. I'm here to pick up his dirty clothes, but and I'm glad to see him again because it makes me feel good. He's uglier than I am. It always makes me feel good to be around people like that. No, I appreciate the way he plays. I think there's, I know there's not another person in this league that plays with a desire that Dick Butkus plays the game. He's got a lot of desire, and of course this is real evident the way he plays football.
My goodness, what do you come back with after that? Being the meanest player in professional football, can you say something nice about somebody?
Well, he read that little script I gave him pretty good.
Well rehearsed.
Yeah. No, Tommy's been, of course, been a fine linebacker all these years too, and I just reiterate that it's a pleasure playing with Tommy because, you know, even though I haven't taught him all that much, it's not that that I didn't teach him that much. It's just that he has difficulty in learning. So maybe now that we're together here, we can pick up something, a few tips off each other.
Well, there will be a large number of newly eligible people. The old age assistance group over 65 will approximately double. They'll go from some 240,000 current recipients to about 420,000. The disabled and the blind will triple. They'll go from some 38,000 to over 100,000 eligible people.
We have been so busy awaiting committee assignments and getting the House organized that we haven't even stopped to discuss or think about that, though I think we may.
Do you have a pretty good chance of becoming that?
Well, if it occurs, I expect I do, yes.
You would accept
it? Yes, I would.
Right at the moment, so maybe in just a minute I can.
Had one person who thought it was not in the best interest of the theater center to do this in good conscience, and one person's executive committee to enter into negotiations with the city of Dallas looking toward the, I don't know, I know we had at least a quorum. It looked to me as if, there were 35, 40 people.
In
As you know, the county has already done this as far as the legislature is concerned. Our legislators are now in Austin, and they are elected by single-member districts. Also, the school board has opted in favor of single-member districts. So we think it's time that the city follows suit. And we think it's time that the city fathers permit us to vote on whether we would like to have this or not.
We have Councilman Ackles seconding the motion.
Aye.
Councilman Ackles, aye. Councilman Weber.
Merits alone. Traditionally, matters concerning we determine the plan that will be submitted in June, and that the city attorney be prepared to discuss any of the legal
Councilman Weber votes no. Councilman Holland?
Aye.
Aye. Councilman...
or any other legal difficulties in holding the election at that time.
You're just putting a burden on the citizens that they just don't need. I also...
Well, number one, I would have preferred a February date to apply to the April 3rd election first. Then I would have preferred April 3rd second, and since that was my preference, I voted no to the June date.
I'm very much in favor of allowing the people to vote on whether we have a single-member district or an at-large system. But by setting the date after April the 3rd, it will be up to a new council to then again decide whether they want this issue placed on the ballot or not. We're passing the buck onto a new council. We're not deciding the issue now.
Paul?
I move that the City Council adopt today that a charter election be called at a time separate from the council elections, preferably June 12, 1973. That the council election be completed. At-large versus single-member districts will at that time be the prime issue.
Quality development.
For the welfare department, or we can have an
obviously